And I guess with the offseason too, Amber mentioned in her exit interview that the number one priority was to land Kelsey in free agency again. Just how important was she to your team this year? How important has she been to the Fever? Obviously, the 8 years she's been with the franchise, and how badly do you want to keep her around?
I mean, yeah, she was the number one priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year.
All right, buckle up, because Stephanie White just dropped the quiet part louder than a mic on live TV. In her newest interview, she didn't just hint. She straight up declared that Kelsey Mitchell is her number one priority, not Caitlin Clark, the generational phenom who shattered records like glass. Not the superstar who packed arenas nationwide and single-handedly dragged the Fever back into relevance. Nope, the spotlight's all on Kelsey. And before anyone clutches their pearls, let's be real, Kelsey's an elite vet who's earned her respect. But come on, there's a world of difference between keeping a star and crowning one the face of your franchise. One gets you decent seasons, the other builds dynasties. What's wild isn't just what White said, it's the confidence she said it with. Like the verdict was locked in before Caitlin's ankle even hit the hardwood. Drop your thoughts below. Did Coach White just expose her real game plan?
I have not lost sight of the fact that when Caitlin Clark got injured, Stephanie White called it a, quote, blessing in disguise. I've also said that I believe if you gave Stephanie White truth serum, she would actually tell you she believes this team was better without Caitlin Clark. I believe that. And I felt that way for quite some time. I believe that she believes that Kelsey Mitchell is the superstar on this team.
And then came that bombshell, a blessing in disguise. When your coach calls your superstar's injury that, it stops sounding like coach speak and starts reeking of betrayal. Let's break down the receipts. Kelsey Mitchell averaged 19.2 points this season. Solid, no doubt. But Caitlin Clark? Last year, she matched that at 19 flat, tossed out 8.4 assists, best in the league, and pulled nearly 6 boards a night. The twist? She did all that while forcing every defense in the WNBA to rewrite their playbook. One player lifts everyone around her. The other just masters her own shot creation. Both have value, sure, but only one's a generational talent, and we all know who that is. Now here's where irony slaps hard. After the Olympic break last season, when Caitlin finally took over as floor general, Kelsey's stats actually climbed. She thrived in Caitlin's system more than she has this year in Stephanie White's so-called motion offense. Think about that. The offense built around Caitlin made the whole team shine. But instead of seeing that, White's out here treating the franchise like a one-woman act, and spoiler alert, it's not Caitlin Clark's show anymore.
Ultimately, what Chrissy Sides ended up running was Caitlin's system. Now, this year, the second half of the season, it was the whatever system, motion offense system. But that system did not work very well for Kelsey. Now, Kelsey balled out, but she's going to ball out regardless. You know what I'm saying? And she's kind of a phenomenal player.
Now, let's dive into that interview because every word dripped with PR polish. When Stephanie White said, "We're going to continue to build around her," she didn't say them. Not both stars. Not our core. Just her. Singular. That one word said everything before any press release could. It's the classic corporate mask pretending to be basketball strategy. The kind of line that screams, decisions already made. It felt like one of those slick boardroom updates where the boss thanks everyone for their hard work right before dropping the firing bomb. But here's where her logic collapses. White keeps preaching loyalty, claiming Kelsey Mitchell earned it after years of losing seasons, chaos, and rebuilds. Sure, loyalty sounds noble, but loyalty alone doesn't raise banners. Generational talent does. The Warriors didn't crown their longest tenured role player. They crowned Steph Curry. The Cavaliers didn't cling to seniority. They went all in on LeBron James. That's how dynasties are built. Loyalty might buy you stability, but only transcendent talent buys you championships in.
Now, Kelsey Mitchell is a very important piece. She's part of the big three, but there's only one Jordan-like generational talent on this team, and it's Caitlin Clark. The fact is, Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, they were around before Caitlin showed up. And they got the number 1 overall pick to get Caitlin Clark.
And that's exactly why this whole move reeks of betrayal. Not just toward Caitlin Clark, but toward every Fever fan who actually believed the franchise was finally turning the page. Internal disagreements? Fine. But publicly sidelining the player who dragged your team back into the national spotlight? That's a whole new level of tone deaf. And it's not just the fans calling it out. Analysts, insiders, even former players are all seeing the same cracks spreading across Indiana's so-called rebuild. When that many basketball minds start agreeing, it's not a conspiracy, it's a reality check. Here's the harsh truth. There's a ceiling when Kelsey Mitchell is your first option. That's not hate, that's basketball math. You can beat teams like the Atlanta Dream, maybe even sneak past a worn-out Aces squad, but once you hit a powerhouse like the Minnesota Lynx or a full-strength New York Liberty, that ceiling caves in fast. And the worst part? Stephanie White knows this. She's too seasoned not to. She understands spacing, roles, and star hierarchy. So, if she's still betting the house on someone other than her generational point guard, this isn't strategy, it's politics. And that's what makes the whole thing sting even more.
Questions they ask is by far not good enough for me. I am sorry. I mean, you got Stephanie White right there. Ask these hardcore questions. What was really wrong with Caitlin Clark? The reason why she did not come back from that ankle injury. We never seen her in a boot. A groin injury is pretty much pulled muscle. Ask those tough questions. Ask her, do you believe had Caitlin Clark returned, y'all could have had a chance to go far? Now, granted, she might not have answered that one, but it wouldn't have hurt to ask.
And that's where we hit the real elephant in the room, the so-called injury narrative. Because once you start connecting the dots, nothing lines up. What really went down with Caitlin Clark's mysterious ankle injury? Why was there never a boot? And since when did a groin tweak magically turn into an ankle problem overnight? This doesn't sound like medical protocol. It sounds like straight-up damage control. Fans aren't clueless. They notice when timelines shift and stories don't match. That's not miscommunication. That's dysfunction, plain and simple. Here's the glaring red flag. Transparency in pro sports isn't optional. It's the rule. When a team suddenly goes quiet, it's usually because they're hiding something. Maybe locker room tension, maybe front office drama, maybe something deeper. And if Caitlin was healthy enough to play but still benched, that's not protection, that's control. Look at how other franchises treat their stars. When Breanna Stewart went down, the Liberty gave full updates. When Aja Wilson had minor issues, Vegas stayed open. Even Elena Delle Donne's long-term injuries were handled with honesty. But Indiana, radio silence, no clarity, no consistency, just PR doublespeak that left fans, and honestly, Caitlin herself, completely hung out to dry.
I also believe part of Kelsey Mitchell's performance this year was the fact that Caitlin wasn't there to take some of those shots. The fact is, Kelsey Mitchell took some shots that would have been Caitlin's. Let's just be real. And because of that extra volume and the fact that she had to be the main offensive threat, it also caused an explosion in her stats.
And the media? They practically handed Stephanie White a free pass. No hard questions, no pushback when her words didn't add up. That interview was so polished, it could have been ghostwritten by the Fever's PR team. It barely cracked 1,000 views because fans saw right through the script. They can smell when something's corporate instead of real. This wasn't a PR fumble, it was a full-on betrayal of trust. When your franchise cornerstone gets hurt, fans deserve transparency. Caitlin Clark deserves honesty. Instead, she got swept under the rug for the sake of damage control. And the irony? She's the very reason this team matters again. The player who reignited Indiana basketball, packed arenas, and revived the brand. Yet here's Stephanie White, convinced she's steering the ship when really she's drilling holes in the hull. Because when you choose loyalty over greatness, you don't just lose games, you lose belief. And if this franchise ever loses Caitlin Clark's belief, they won't just lose a season, they'll lose their future.
I like Kelsey Mitchell. I'm not trying to dog out Kelsey Mitchell, but she's the clear number 2 option on this team. All right, and everything should run through Caitlin Clark.
Let's unpack what really went down when Caitlin Clark hit the bench, because this is where the facade finally crumbles. The moment she was out, Kelsey Mitchell's usage rate skyrocketed. Every possession that used to flow through Caitlin, every fast break, every late game set, every drawn-up play suddenly became Kelsey's domain. And credit where it's due, she delivered. Career numbers, clutch shots, all-star looks. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody in the Fever hierarchy wants to admit. Sometimes players only look better when the generational star isn't on the floor. Not because they suddenly leveled up overnight, but because the system artificially inflates their role. Think LeBron James goes down and the second option's stats soar. More shots, more highlights, more buzz, but the team, it doesn't get better, it just survives. That's the illusion in Indiana right now. Kelsey Mitchell shines in Caitlin's absence, but in a system built on volume, not victory. She's phenomenal, no doubt, but there's a world of difference between being a scorer and being a franchise cornerstone. Put bluntly, Kelsey is Scottie Pippen, a top-tier two-way player essential for winning, but never the foundation of a dynasty. And before anyone cries shade, remember, Pippen is top 50 all-time? But when Michael Jordan first retired, what happened? That same Bulls roster went from dynasty to first-round exit. Same players, same staff, different focal point. That's exactly what's unfolding here. You can build with Kelsey Mitchell. You cannot build around her.
She has decided that she is building around Kelsey Mitchell. And to build around Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark is not who you need to build around Kelsey Mitchell. You need to build around Kelsey Mitchell. You have to build an Allen Iverson type Sixers team. You can have, in my opinion, you should trade Aaliyah as well. In my opinion, you should trade. I don't think Aaliyah is the right center to have beside Kelsey Mitchell. I think you should trade Kate. You should trade Kate and you should trade Aaliyah.
And Stephanie White knows exactly what's at stake. She's a basketball lifer, spent her career studying systems inside and out. If she were truly building around Kelsey Mitchell, the roster would look completely different, one that hides her weaknesses instead of spotlighting them. You'd need defensive specialists everywhere, a pass-first point guard who never craves the ball, a rim protector who doesn't demand touches, and 3-and-D wings who live beyond the arc. Basically, you'd be recreating the 2001 Allen Iverson Sixers, a team that made the finals once, burned out, and never recovered. Not exactly a sustainable blueprint. More like a one-and-done playoff recipe. The painful irony? The Indiana Fever already have the bones of a championship team. They're just too blind to see it.